all around the world. Roads, bridges, railways, waterways, tunnels, and airports. In one way or another, extreme. From the crazy to the deadly, the magnificent to the terrifying. Incredible engineering and astonishing human stories. These are the world's most extreme. For 200 years, railways have tracked around the globe, transforming societies and changing lives. These are the 10 most extreme.
This must be the most hair-raising experience for any train driver around the world.
From India to Japan, Peru to the Philippines, awesome engineering in extreme environments.
This railway was one of the great engineering achievements of mankind.
High-tech to homemade.
We continue left and right moves.
Incredible journeys and extraordinary lives. The 10 most extreme railways on the planet. First up, at number 10. In Colombia, it's the world's craziest. A particular track in the Colombian port town of Santa Marta has become infamous because the teenagers there have come up with an incredibly reckless, illegal way to relieve their boredom. It begins with trespassing on the railway tracks. Dangerous, but not unique to Colombia. It's what happens next that's really shocking. He lies right down in the middle of the tracks and lets the train drive straight over him.
These kids are crazy. What are they thinking? The slightest miscalculation, you're dead. You can have your head ripped off. You're playing chicken, well, you're gonna be a chicken with your head cut off.
So often around the world, teenagers seek out these kinds of dangerous activities. They want to prove themselves, they want to prove their manhood, they want to impress their friends, and they will go to such lengths to do it.
In Santa Marta, they call it the train game. And this footage turned it into a global news story. But this crime is not unique to Colombia. Clips have appeared on the internet of people all around the world doing similar crazy stunts.
These kids are putting themselves at risk for a little bit of glory, for a little bit of fame.
Just when you think you've seen it all, this boy takes reckless to a whole new level.
Next one, off that one. No. All right, no. Hurry up, man.
Amazingly, he survived, unscathed. But this young man in Colombia didn't.
No se la cuesta el tren. Es muy peligro. El tren le hace daño. Lo mata.
He escaped with his life, but please, don't try this at home.
If you tried to this in most places in the world, it's very likely that you would be killed because there isn't the room between the tracks and the height of the train.
No one knows how many people around the world have died playing this lethal, highly illegal train game. At number 9, in the world's most extreme, it's Peru, the most extreme place to drive a train. In Colombia, they risk their lives for kicks. Here, they do it for a living. Driving a train at 3 miles high on the edge of a mountain with thousands of tons of heavy metals on board.
If there's an accident, if there's a derailment, you run a very high risk of literally falling off a cliff, falling off a mountain.
It demands absolute control and nerves of steel.
This must be the most hair-raising experience for any train driver around the world.
The Ferrocarril Central Andino, the world's most fearsome rail descent. The Altiplano, Peru, a bleak, windswept plain that's home to one of the highest railways in the world. This train is fully loaded. 2,450 tons of lead, zinc and silver from the biggest mine in the country. It's setting off on a perilous journey. From the mines at the top of the Andes down to the coast on some of the steepest rails on the planet. From its highest point, it will descend an ear-popping 13,000 feet in just 70 miles. Sheer drops add to the danger. Normally, a freight train takes more than twice that distance to do a descent like this safely. Built by 10,000 men in the 1870s, this track was one of the most ambitious rail building projects of the 19th century.
This railway was one of the great engineering achievements of mankind. It's personal to me because one of my ancestors, Henry Meigs, was one of the engineers who helped build it. But the very idea of trying to put a railroad line over one of the highest mountain ranges in the world in the 19th century, to me, is just incredible.
It took highly skilled engineers to construct a railway where there weren't even roads, laying tracks that clung to cliffs, tunneling through mountains, and bridging deep ravines. And today it takes highly skilled drivers like Daniel Garcia to bring heavy freight trains down the steep tracks.
Me han dicho muchos, de que para poder bajar un tren tienes que tener nervios de acero. Y acá desconcentrarse un segundo nos puede costar caro.
But Daniel's not carrying just any old rocks. He's got wagons of lead behind him. With few signals or safety barriers, the risks mount. The most important thing, keep the train under control.
It's not like driving a car down a steep mountain grade. Their trains are hauling extreme tonnage, 2,500 tons of product. And that tonnage in the freight cars is pushing on the locomotive.
This journey is all about the brakes, and there are 4 types on the wheels. But he's also got a 3,900 horsepower diesel locomotive using its awesome power to hold the heavy wagons back. Too slow, the brakes will burn out. Too fast, and the train will derail. Brake specialist Emiliano Goya has seen what happens when a driver loses control of his train.
Primero en 100 kilómetros 133 se fue el aire. Entonces nos estrellamos en el túnel Cacray arriba. Ahí murió el maquinista. Entonces a la altura del Cacray arriba el maquinista se avienta y la máquina se avienta. Y yo me puse atrás de la otra cabina, segunda cabina, entonces me salvé.
Daniel and his family live with the risk that each time he takes a train down the mountain, he might not come home.
Que me metían a trabajar al ferrocarril sabía de que era un trabajo con muchos riesgos.
But this railway is vital to the Peruvian economy. The minerals they carry make up 60% of Peru's exports, and it's important they haul as much cargo as possible with every trip. More weight means more risk for Daniel, and more worry for his wife, Kathy.
Que me da un poco de temor cuando viene y me dice, he bajado 2.200 toneladas. Cuando antes no se bajaba 2.200, sino menos. Después me dijo, he bajado 2.450. No, le digo, piensa en tu familia.
15 long, nerve-wracking hours later, this train and its valuable cargo finally make it off the mountain, surviving the world's most fearsome rail descent. At number 8, right in the middle of New York City, it's the world's most secret. Manhattan. At its heart is a very famous train station, Grand Central. Buried under it, a closely guarded secret. A railway track that's off the grid.
Where we are right now, in the track and platform area, right here, it doesn't exist.
Its location is known only to a select few.
How cool that deep inside there's a secret platform. It's like something out of a James Bond movie.
This is the largest railway station in the world. 44 platforms, 67 tracks, 750,000 people passing through every day.
Grand Central Terminal is one of the busiest railway stations, not only in the United States, but in the entire world.
Well, this is the command center. Everything's moved out of here. We move a train like every 54 seconds off a platform. It's unbelievable.
That's 2 minutes.
1104, track 108, Stanford line. 108 downstairs for Ron.
At the information desk, staff field 1,000 queries an hour.
Oh, it's a very busy place, but we love it. We love what we do.
They know every route, every departure time, and every track, except one.
Do you know where platform 61 is?
No, I do not know where platform 61 is.
Most of the people who work and travel through the station every day have no idea track 61 even exists. But Danny Brooker's been exploring these tunnels for years, and he knows exactly where it is.
You can look at all of our track charts, examine them with a magnifying glass, and where we are is non-existent.
This is the elusive track 61. A hidden track in and out of New York City, an abandoned antique railway car. But who would have access to a hidden track here? No less a VIP than the President of the United States of America. Franklin D. Roosevelt, one of the biggest political figures of the 20th century.
What almost all the American public did not know was that Franklin Delano Roosevelt had polio. He couldn't walk.
So when Roosevelt appeared in public here in New York, he traveled on his own private train.
He'd be driven off of that train car onto that platform and onto a secret elevator custom design. It would lift the president into the Waldorf Astoria, sight unseen by the American public and by the press.
Danny believes track 61 was kept secret to hide Roosevelt's disability and has since been forgotten. But some say it could see action again.
Track 61 could be used in the event of a national security emergency to provide safe passage for the president.
Is this the reason one of the world's most famous train stations has a concealed platform?
It's very rare, almost never, that I say no comment. But I must do that here. Saying anything more than that is simply impossible for me.
Coming up, in India, passengers face a nightmare commute on the world's most overcrowded trains. We've traveled the length of the Americas to see daredevil teenagers, white-knuckle driving, and state secrets. And now we're going to Asia for number 7, Thailand, the world's strangest. 9:40 a.m., outskirts of Bangkok. This is the driver of the 4381 commuter service. His job, get this train to Mae Klong Station. Meanwhile, In Maglev, the local market is in full swing. Jarut Sisukon hawks some of the seafood this market is famous for. Nearby, Wanida Pintong is doing a brisk trade too. Shoppers haggle for bargains on fresh vegetables, spices and fruit. It looks like a typical Thai market. But there's just one problem. These are rail tracks, and they're running right through the heart of the market. In 5 minutes' time, the 4381 will be coming through, right where Jarut and Wanida are doing business.
This has got to be the world's craziest railroad line.
Train and market on a collision course. Who will blink first? The Maglev market traders hold their ground. They've been here a long time.
เป็นถ่ายทอดมาจากลูกสู่พ่อเป็นกิจการของพ่อมาสู่ลูกส่วนใหญ่จะเป็นแบบนี้
But the railway has been here even longer. And the 4381 is closing in. 3 minutes to go. Still, no one blinks. Until, with just a few seconds to go, the market stalls part like the Red Sea. And it becomes clear why locals call it Talat Rom Hup, or the umbrella pull-down market.
One of the things I really like about this is how cool all the traders are. You know, they've been doing it for a lifetime, and you know, if the train is 15 seconds away, they'll complete their purchase and then move just in time away from the tracks.
8 times a day, the train passes within inches of these stalls. In its wake, the umbrellas are put back up, the stalls pulled out again, and it's back to business as usual.
There's an awful lot of strange railways around the world, but I reckon this is one of the strangest.
ถ้าถามว่าถ้าเราที่อื่นมันก็น่าจะแปลกถ้าเราเป็นต่างชาติแต่เราที่นี่อยู่ชิน
Strange or not, neither market nor railway are going anywhere. At number 6, we're heading to India to squeeze onto the most crowded trains on Earth. In Thailand, people clear out of the way when the trains pass. Here, they hitch a ride. Overcrowding forces commuters to take their lives in their hands every time they go to work.
Trains in India get crowded beyond belief. People trying to jump on, grabbing onto the sides, clambering up on the roof. It's crazy. It's nuts.
More than 40 people die on India's rails every single day. The Delhi Railways, the world's most extreme commute. Delhi, 8 a.m. Rush hour in one of the most crowded cities on the planet. In Noli, 16 miles from the center, thick fog means long delays. A nightmare for hundreds of commuters crammed onto the platform. Kavita Kumar has been catching trains here for 10 years. 6 days a week, she runs the gauntlet here. Because even the platforms in Delhi are dangerous. Kuldeep Kumar and his friend Ramesh need to get to their jobs in Delhi too. Kuldeep works as a winder in a wire factory. Ramesh has a fruit stall in the city.
मतलब ट्रेन का जो रूट है वो सिर्फ 4 ट्रेनें चलती हैं इस रूट पे वो 8 वाली है एक 9 वाली है और एक एक्सप्रेस और एक 12 वाली है तो सर ये जितनी भी चारों ट्रेनें जाती हैं ये सब लोडेड होके जाती है सर फुल।
Finally, an hour and a half late, a train. There are only 3 stops on this line before Nolly, but still the train is heaving. And suddenly, now the race is on. Finally, a little breathing space as Kavitar fights her way into a women-only carriage. The train company created carriages like this after women found themselves fighting off gropers on packed trains. But women-only carriages mean even less space for Kuldeep and Ramesh. So they've got a different tactic. They'll try to ride on the roof. But every inch of this train is already taken. Waiting for the next train is their only option because they can't afford to travel any other way.
और फिर अदरवाइज यहाँ से इसका रोज़ का पर डे जाना आना इसमें आदत पड़ गई क्योंकि ऑटो वगैरह से जाते हैं 6000 इनकी सैलरी है मिनिमम 1500 रुपये ऑटो वगैरह में देंगे तो ये खाएंगे क्या बचाएंगे क्या क्योंकि इन्हें अपने घर भी देना है वहाँ भी इन्हें बहुत कुछ संभालना है.
The trains are the lifeblood of this booming city.
India's passenger trains are extremely important. India is a densely populated country and relies on its railway network for basic transportation.
Millions rely on these trains, but the network is stretched to breaking point. The infrastructure is antiquated, and every year there are more and more passengers. When the next train comes, it's overloaded too. But Kuldeep and Ramesh will do whatever it takes to get this one.
जब मैं घर से चलता हूँ तो मेरे दिमाग में सिर्फ एक ही बात रहती है मुझे जहाँ जाना अपनी शॉप तक मुझे पहुँचना है.
Nothing's going to stop them getting on the roof this time.
घर वाले डांटते हैं अंदर जाइयो तेरे को ये कर दूंगे वो कर दूंगी अंदर जाइए लुटक में जाइयो क्या करे बहुत सारी पब्लिक.
Traveling this way is not for the faint-hearted.
It's pretty crazy to ride on the outside of a train. Just one slip and basically you're dead. Lots of people in India get killed in that way every year.
Standing up makes the journey more fun, but even more dangerous.
मतलब यही उम्मीद करते हैं कि आगे चल के थोड़ी राहत मिल जाए हमें तो हमें इन चीज़ों का वो सहारा ना लेना पड़े अपना आराम से आएं आराम से जाएं बस यही मेरी.
Kuldeep, Ramesh and Kavitar finally make it to work. Late, but in one piece. In just a few hours, the Indian rail network will be pushed to breaking point again as the most overcrowded trains in the world take their passengers home. Coming up, at the top of the Swiss Alps, some fearsome machines are being deployed to keep the trains running. On the world's most extreme railways, we've seen people riding on the top of trains in India. And now, at number 5, in the Swiss Alps, it's train versus snow. Driving a train here is a constant battle against the elements. For a century, Swiss engineers have built extreme machines to keep the trains running like clockwork. This is the latest of their incredible snow-fighting trains.
Think of it as your home snowblower magnified by maybe 100 times.
The Bernina line, a powerful solution to extreme snow. The Swiss Alps. middle of winter. Home to an extraordinary railway that carries skiers and tourists between the area's famous ski resorts. Vera Lynn Niklaus is the conductor on the 2:45 Bernina line service.
Also, ich arbeite 7 Jahre. Ich liebe meinen Job. Ja, ich bin begeistert, fahre gern.
The Bernina line runs from Tirano in Italy up the highest mountain range in Europe. There's snow on the ground all winter above 700 meters. This line climbs way up to 2,250 meters, ending at the ski resort of St. Moritz. People come here for that snow, but it's a problem for Vera Lynn and her train.
You'd think trains could just barrel right through the snow, but they can't. It starts packing up, and gradually it becomes so intense that the locomotive cannot pull the train anymore. You've got to get rid of that snow. And here they are in the highest pass in Europe and one of the snowiest places in Europe.
For the past 100 years, the Swiss have kept this railway running using an amazing machine. This is the monster.
They clear the tracks with the help of this amazing machine, which is a combination of a snowplow and a massive blower.
A steam train with 3 tons of rotating blades on the front that slices into the snow, sucks it into the mechanism, and blasts it out the side. The only steam-powered plow in operation in the world. It can even clear avalanches. It's been clearing snow up here every winter since before the First World War, working round the clock to keep the tracks open.
Schaufeln, Schneefräsen, gleisfrei machen. Da bewundere ich die Bahnarbeiter. Die gehen bei jedem Wetter gehen die raus und müssen da ihre Arbeit machen. Das ist ein harter Job für die. Also härter als das auf dem Zug. Ich bewundere einfach, was die machen. Und bin froh, dass sie die Arbeit machen, weil das ermöglicht mir meinen Job.
But when snow really comes down on the Bernina line, the century-old monster can't shift it fast enough. So now they're unveiling the ultimate snow-fighting machine. The Yellow Beast. With stronger, wider and higher blades and a plow that can open up to clear a channel 6 meters wide. It can shift more snow more quickly than anything seen before. Up to 8,500 tons every hour.
These machines are some of the most powerful in the world. As snow fighting equipment goes, I would have to say that they are probably the most powerful.
Snow versus train in the Swiss Alps, and it looks like the train might be winning. That's good news for Vera Lynn, who works on through the winter.
Nein, ich liebe den Schnee nicht, aber er ist halt jetzt da, oder?
Vera Lynn boards another train. The monster keeps on ploughing, and snow continues to fall on the Bernina line. At number 4, we're heading to the Philippines for extreme, homemade trains. Are you fed up with your local train service? Trains don't come when you want them to? Then why not do something about it? All around the world, people are taking back the tracks. In California, thrill seekers have turned an abandoned line into their own personal roller coaster. Cruising at 30 miles an hour with cold beers in hand.
Oh, this is gonna be a good one.
In Cambodia, the trains never come, so locals build their own. Rough bamboo platforms with gasoline engines bolted on the back. They're so popular, the biggest problem is what to do when 2 of them meet on a single track. Simple. Just pick your train up, take it off the tracks, and wait till the other has passed. It's one thing driving your homemade train in the countryside. It's a whole different story doing it right in the middle of a capital city on tracks that are still in use.
There is a great risk that round one corner you're going to meet a real train and that will be the end of you.
But that's exactly what they do in the Philippines, on the world's most extreme homemade trains. Manila. On the roads, there's gridlock. Millions of cars stuck bumper to bumper. The buses and taxis are at a standstill, and the trains are expensive. In this traffic hell, Filipinos are taking extreme measures to get from A to B. They're taking over the railways. Genaro Daclison has just started work for the day on his homemade train. A few planks of wood nailed together with some small wheels screwed onto the bottom. His train is cheap, simple, and portable. He charges passengers 5 pesos for a ride that runs on manpower alone.
We continue left and right moves.
For 20 years, this has been Genaro's full-time job. It's illegal, but so popular, the authorities usually look the other way. There's just one problem.
But we have enemies, the train.
The official trains still run on these tracks. 1,000 tons of steel moving at 50 miles an hour. Time to scatter.
This is not a fun ride. This is the real deal. There are full-scale, busy, in-a-hurry trains coming down these tracks. They're not going to wait for you. You better be off those tracks.
Genaro's seen what happens if you don't move fast enough.
Chop chop. Kill the man.
Even with stakes that high, many Filipinos still think this is the best way to get around.
Manila's a busy city. Manila's a crowded city. The traffic there is terrible. You'll sit in traffic for hours, or you can get on this heavily used train track and take your chances.
Genaro doesn't just risk his life working on his homemade train. At the end of the day, he lifts it off the tracks and it becomes a dining table for his family and his bed for the night. A house and a taxi. No other do-it-yourself trains work harder than these. At number 3, Japan, the most efficient railways on Earth. With 127 million people living on a crowded archipelago, the Japanese have become masters of moving by rail. Quickly and on time, it has the world's busiest stations and some of the world's fastest trains. Now, they're taking it to the next level, building a train that will fly.
They're extreme because they're so incredibly fast.
Japan, the country where the train is king. Tokyo, 7:30 a.m. Millions pour into the city. In the land of the salaryman, commuters need to get to work on time. The world's biggest city is home to the world's busiest train stations. Where trains arrive every 3 seconds.
You can set your watch to a Japanese train. If they're 5 seconds late, it's unusual.
But there's a problem. When the trains arrive, they're already full. But if you want to get to your desk, getting on isn't optional.
It doesn't help if you say like, oh my God, I'm gonna step back, I wait for the next train. Well, guess what? The next train gonna be just as full. So there's absolutely no other way.
The trains can't run any more frequently. So the Japanese have come up with an extreme solution. The Oshiya, also known as the pushers.
The most important thing is that the timetable is adhered to, and that is done with the help of people with white gloves actually pushing the commuters onto the trains to ensure the doors can be shut on time and the train gets away.
Being pushed in the train is definitely not a good experience. Even if you get used to it, you know, if you're doing this every day, it's really exhausting, and people are in your face, and you know, it's not a good feeling at all.
In any other country, you know, there would be an outcry. You know, it would be like, oh, let me get the out of here. But this is just not happening over here.
But the system works. Every day, millions of commuters make it to their desks on time. When it comes to shifting a lot of people between cities, the Japanese have a different strategy. Here, it's all about speed.
Japan has always been thriving in making things better, making things faster, and this is another extension of trying to be more efficient.
First, there was the Shinkansen, the bullet train, the world's first high-speed rail network with top operating speeds of 200 miles per hour. But now, they want to go faster. With Maglev. On this test track in Yamanashi, Japan's Maglev became the fastest train in the world at 361 miles per hour, thanks to a complete redesign of how trains work.
Instead of having wheels, you lift the train up on a magnetic field, and then you also use magnetic force to propel the train down the track.
When a train skids across the rails, it produces friction, and that friction, well, that slows it down. That's lost energy. Because these trains use magnets, they can float above the rails and save a lot of energy and go at very fast speeds.
More than half the cruising speed of a passenger jet.
It's like being in an airplane. In a maglev train, there really is very little perception of speed, except that you're, of course, close to the ground.
By 2027, the Japanese want to turn experimental technology into commercial reality and allow maglev to lift Japan's railways to a whole new level. Coming up, southern India, where a little thing like an ocean is not going to get in the way of the trains. On the world's most extreme, we've seen the fastest. And now at number 2, in southern India, it's the world's most exposed. There are some places where building a railway is a bad idea. Across a raging sea is one of them. This rail bridge is locked in an epic battle for survival.
This railroad is taking some of the most extreme punishment that you can imagine.
The Indian Ocean is a formidable opponent.
A derailment on a bridge like this would be an absolute disaster.
It's a miracle it still stands. The Pamban Bridge, the world's most exposed railway. Southern India, just south of Chennai. Standing between the Pamban Bridge and destruction are the maintenance team. Their mission? Keep the trains running across it, no matter what. They're on their way to work, hundreds of meters out in the middle of the sea. 1.5 miles of rail track, just 1 meter wide, takes passengers and cargo between Rameshwaram Island and the mainland. Underneath flows the mighty Indian Ocean. Its position across these straits leaves the Pamban Bridge and the men who work on it vulnerable. No safety barriers, no ropes, no life jackets. AJ Ashok Kumar works out here in these conditions every day. He can't afford to put a single foot wrong.
ட்ராக்ல வேலை வைக்கிறது கொஞ்சம் கஷ்டமான வேலை தான். கொஞ்சம் கால் சிரிப்பானாலும் ஆள் இதாகுது. காற்று ரொம்ப பலமான காற்று அடிக்குது. இந்த மாதிரி ஆட்கள் நிறைய பேர் போயிருக்காங்க. ஆழமான தண்ணி ஆழமான பகுதி வந்து இன்னொன்று நீர்வாடு அதிகமானது காற்றுது. அது கீழே விழுந்தோம்னா உண்மைக்கு பிழைக்கிறது ரொம்ப கஷ்டம், இழுத்துட்டு போயிடும்.
Enemy number one for this iron bridge is rust.
It's subject to high winds, waves, salt water, air pollution, highly corrosive elements. And in order to keep this thing running, it requires a constant maintenance.
To stop it rusting into the sea, Ashok scrapes down the most corroded bits of track each day and seals them with paint. But it's not just losing his footing he needs to worry about out here. Because while the crew works, the trains still run. And when one comes, it can be 30 meters to the nearest safety platform.
This is an absolute vital link in the Indian railway system, and that's why so much effort is put into keeping it going and to repairing it when something goes wrong.
But there's very little the maintenance team can do when nature really turns nasty, because this is cyclone country. And when a cyclone moves in from the sea, all the locals can do is pray the bridge will hold. S. Kale Selvam remembers what happened when a cyclone hit on the 22nd of December 1964.
அந்த இரவு நேரத்தில் மக்களுக்கு காற்று எவ்வளோ அடிக்குது என்ன வரும்ன்றது தெரியல. எல்லாம் கதவு அடிச்சிட்டு உள்ளே இருக்க போகும்போது அதிகமான காற்றில் வீட்டோட ஓடுகள் தூக்கப்பட்டது, தென்னை மரங்கள் அடியோடு பேர்க்கப்பட்டன, மரங்கள் எல்லாம் பேர்ந்து வந்தது.
Next morning, the villagers emerged to take stock of the damage.
6 மணிக்கு தான் பார்க்க போகும்போது இந்த பாலங்கள்லாம் அடித்து செல்லப்பட்டதாக சொன்னாங்க மக்கள். அதோட எல்லாரும் இங்கே பார்க்க போகும்போது எதுவுமே நடந்து தெரியல. ஃபுல்லாக தண்ணியை மூழ்கி மேலே கொண்டு தண்ணியெல்லாம் போயிடுச்சு. ஒரு இதுவுமே இல்லை, ஒரு பில்லர் மட்டும் தான் இருந்தது. காலையில் பார்க்க போகும்போது மக்கள்.
The bridge, which had stood since 1914, had been blasted away. Despite the fact that whole villages had been flattened, one of the first things rebuilt was the railway. Amazingly, it took just 46 days to build a new bridge on top of the remains of the old one. Today, the descendants of the men who rebuilt it work to keep the bridge standing.
The fact that this railway is still in operation is rather impressive. It's a testament to the tenacity and the skill of the engineers, not only who built it, but the people who maintain it and keep it in operation.
It's been a good day at the office. They'll be back out here again, doing their dangerous work tomorrow. At number 1, in the world's most extreme railways, we're heading to South Africa for the most dangerous. Soweto, on the outskirts of Johannesburg. For some of the youth here with little hope of a job and drug addiction rife, the promise of post-apartheid South Africa has yet to arrive. So they make their mark the only way they know how. On the number 23 commuter train. Using the speeding train as their stage, Soweto teenagers egg each other on to perform ever more daring stunts. The most death-defying of all? Train surfing. Performing acrobatics on the top of moving trains. While dodging cables carrying 3,000 volts of electricity. 1 in 3 train surfers will die doing this lethal sport. This is Prince Sheba. He was one of the first to surf, risking his life on top of the carriages, getting as close as possible to the overhead power lines. Some surfers take the risks even further, riding on top of the train backwards. You can't see what's coming, so you need to remember exactly where every single cable and bridge is.
There's the danger of falling off, and of course that could be fatal, but these are electric trains. They have wires above with 3,000 volts, and just one touch on that would be undoubtedly fatal.
Between 5 and 12 people die doing this every year.
All environments around the world, teenage boys especially, they find dangerous things to do to show off, to get status, to get honor among their friends, even stuff that to us looks nuts.
Prince knows all too well that surfing can be lethal. He stood by helpless when fellow surfer Luazi got it terribly wrong. When their friends started dying, Prince and some other surfers decided to stop. But there are still plenty of kids out there risking their lives on top of the carriages. On the world's most dangerous railway, the world's most extreme.